I'm telling you, Conor McGregor ain't got shit on me. That Conor McGregor ain't got shit on me. I'll take him down in the first round. Speed and accuracy. Speed and accuracy. That's what it's all about. Speed and accuracy. The Irish green hands. Morning. Seeding time. I've been talking about this fairway project and redoing the green forever. That time is finally here. Before I begin, let me just go over a couple quick details for you. This is a little bit longer video because we just had cameras and I just shot what we were doing. We were exhausted at the end of the day because not only did we overdo all this seeding, then we came back and cut. We have yard work to do. We were just wiped by the end of the day. So hit subscribe, of course, wherever that button is. But don't forget, get the Bermuda Lawn Guide. The Bermuda Lawn Guide goes over a lot of our seeding stuff, goes over what products to use. But up front, let me tell you that I'm seeding right now with Arden 15 Bermuda grass. Later in the fall, we might come back on the green and do a little bit of bent overseed, and that'll carry us into the cooler weather. But for right now, we're just doing Arden 15. If you're doing a seeding project like this, it's a great time. If you're going to be busting up this soil, put down some humichar. It's a great time to put down humichar. After you get done with your seeding, you can either do, depending on your soil, whether your phosphorus levels and everything, you can do PGF Balance, which is an all quick release. That's a great product to put down on a new seed, PGF Balance. Put down a light coat of PGF Balance. If you happen to have high phosphorus, put down some PGF Complete. The other thing we did down at the beach house is while we were breaking up all this soil, we put down Dirt Booster. We put down some Dirt Booster with the organic, and it has humichar inside of it. And then I came back over it with the Super Juice and Microbial spray on top of it. So you can do those things while you're seeding. You don't want to put a ton of fertilizer down. You don't put a ton of nutrients down, but tomorrow or later today, my son's coming over, he's going to cut, and I might put some PGF Balance, and I'll put that in the next video. So I'm just going to string everything together. You guys have been asking for this project. I'll show it to you. And here we go. Hold on. Oh, so the day has arrived. We're going to start the seeding project on this fairway. I'll summarize what has happened in the past. I'll show you what we're doing, walk you through it step by step. So hold on. So you can see how bad this looks. We've put a lot of sand mixture down here. We used a lot of our leveling mix in here, and you can see where it has a lot of this white sandy look to it. So step number one is what we're going to do is we're going to aerate the living heck out of this thing. We're going to pull cores. Then I just ordered the same sort of scarifier that I have at the beach house that I use for seeding at the beach house. Now at the beach house we planted Zoysia. Here we're planting Arden 15 Bermuda. We're going to core aerate, open this all up. Then we're going to use the scarifier. We're going to go over this with the scarifier. Then I'm going to seed. Then I'm going to scarify again. And that second scarification, if that's a term, that second scarification basically will put the seed at the perfect depth. Now, I have a different aerator. We do a lot of aerating because I take care of a few lawns. My billy goat, you can change out from core aeration to spike aeration to tiny spikes, which is kind of nice. So one tip that you need to learn, come here, I need to show him. He's going to get mad at me now. Okay, so when you install so these are the core pullers. So these are the core pulling plugs right there, and you've probably seen them on an aerator. See how they have a hole? That hole needs to be facing backwards on all these. So
thanks for telling me that now.
So guess who's got to go get a wrench? Okay, so he just put together the scarifier dethatcher. Now this unit that I'm showing today, I have a Sunjoe down at the beach house. Works pretty good. This unit is basically the same, 15.5 inches wide. It comes with a dethatching blade. We never dethatch Bermuda, by the way. Don't dethatch Bermuda. You'll pull up all the runners and you'll destroy your lawn structure. This blade, the Sunjoe is actually a solid blade. This one is a little bit offset and has kind of a groove in it, so it'll be interesting to see how that works. My only concern about this, and this is what I'm testing before we start this aeration is, will it go deep enough? I've got to get it, so I really want to get a 1/2 inch penetration on this soil. So I'm going to plug it in and try it. That's perfect, actually. So you can see this is what I'm doing. I'm putting about a 1/2 inch cut into the ground and opening this up. Man, that is just perfect for seeding. I don't even know, to be honest. I guess we'll do a core aeration on the green too. When we get in real tight here, we're really tearing up this green pretty bad. So we've started coming back and forth, and I think I have to take this hole out. So I really don't know the best way now. There's my hole. Since we have sandy soil here, top 4 inches is real heavy sand. If you don't understand how a billy goat works, a billy goat is not motorized as far as the wheels go. It uses the angle of the tine to push itself forward. So if you're going uphill, you're going to get a lot of resistance. Or if you hold it and don't let it go as fast, it has more resistance. And what's happening? So what's happening is we're actually kind of tilling this soil up now. Look at it. So we're just tilling it up. So I told Ryan, here's what we're going to do. We're going to scarify this, we're going to rake it, and then seed it. Here, we're going to put resistance on the billy goat and let it tear up the soil. Then we'll seed, then we'll scarify, and that should be perfect. It should work out great. It's a little bit tough because I've got all this loose soil and bumps here. It's a little tough to go. It's not like a regular flat surface out here. I mean, basically I'm running over rototill dirt, so it's a little bit harder to do it. On flat soil, this thing's easy. It's a one-hand operation. But I don't know why I didn't think about that. I don't have my little hand spreader. I've thrown enough seed in my lifetime. I can do it fairly well, but let me give you a little trick. So we've core aerated this. Basically, we've rototilled it. It just tore it all up. I took the scarifier. Now it's all nice and loose. The first thing I'm going to do is put down a light application of seed. Then I'm going to go into my raking. I've learned this trick, especially with Zoysia. You know, if you get a real heavy rainstorm, you get some of this seed that's a 1/2 inch deep, and it'll still germinate and it'll still come up. Sometimes people don't get some seed down deep enough. And what I've learned is that while you're in this finishing process, do multiple layers of seed. So right now I've got it like this. I'm gonna do a layer of seed. Then I'm gonna rake it. I'm gonna put down another layer of seed. Then we're going to take the big roller True Cut, 260 pounds, because my rollers don't work well. We're just going to roll that over it before, and I'm going to put seed on before that. So just multiple layers of this seed works well. Again, I'm putting down Arden 15 Bermuda. One of my favorite rakes in my whole equipment. You can get these at Lowe's, and it's a leveling rake. Has a flat level on one side, tines on the other, and I'm basically just gonna kind of eye level this right now. If this was a normal lawn, I wouldn't do much more. I would do a simple raking and then maybe come back, put some more on, and maybe roll it. Here, I'm gonna have to do a lot of leveling work. So we'll do that later on. Right now, our main concern is to get this Bermuda germinating back. Asked me a good question. He said, are you putting a special kind of grass here versus on the fairway? And the answer is no. I've got Arden 15. Now Arden 15 replicates a hybrid grass, so it's very fine blade, it's a good looking grass. But if I come back here with a cool season grass, like if I come back here with what I put on here before, if I come back with a bent or a blue, in this heat, unless we're watering every 2 hours, it's just not going to survive being new. Now, people are going to say, why don't you use the TIF dwarf? Why don't you use a dwarf Bermuda back here? It's because, number one, it's really hard to find a supplier, and they don't want to deal with this. It has to be sprigged. You actually spread it all around here, and it has to be sprigged, and it takes a long time. So I'm just not going to go that way. We're just going to put down regular Bermuda here, let it deal with the summer, see how it goes. In the fall, when it starts to cool down, we'll come back and we'll do an overseeding of the bent and the blue, and that'll carry us actually into the winter time with the putting green. So that's what we're doing seed-wise. So now, since I'm a dumb butt and I don't have a spreader, I'm just going to spread this by hand, and then I'm going to have him come out and I'm going to have him run the scarifier over it. Then I'm going to put another light coat on it, and then we're going to roll it with the True Cut, which is 260 pounds. Now I'm just going to use my pull board. I've actually got one of these pull boards down at the beach house for leveling too. It's a pretty simple board. So now the last thing I'm going to do, I know I got green on my face somehow. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw out more seed. I'm going to get the True Cut, and I'm going to run this over, press it down. I'm done, water it. Then we'll come out here, we'll reseed this area, run the True Cut over it, done, water it. So what I want you to see is, I want you to see here's the untouched and then here's the scarified. Now, we did learn a trick. I wanted it really deep, but since we have this all torn up, We actually moved it up one notch and it's going a lot smoother. It was a bear to do it. So go ahead, push your button, squeeze your hand on. So I've got seed down. We're scarifying it, putting it about a ½ inch under that. I'm gonna come back and throw more seed, and then we're gonna get the big true cut because my rollers are all messed up. We'll get the big true cut. Since it weighs 260 pounds, and I'll just run the true cut over this. Same thing on the green. Okay, so when you do this, you're gonna go real slow, and if you'll notice, most of the weight is on those tires, those back tires. So I actually go down and then I put that tire in the middle of my previous trap. Does that make sense? Because it's a real slow, long process, but if you can get those heavy tires pressing that seed and dirt in, it's perfect. But you can see what I mean, these tire tracks, the machine's 260 pounds, and man, a lot of that weight is on those rear tires, and you can see what it does. So that's why I wanted to come back and put that other tire right in the middle. But it's a great little power roller, dude. That's what I've learned. Instead of using a 200-pound push roller full of water, we can come out here with this thing and just let it do the work. So this is all done, and what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to daisy chain a couple of these movable sprinkler heads on this side. I have sprinkler heads over there that'll probably work, but here's the problem. These are tied into the rest of my lawn, so I'll be watering different sections when I don't. I just want to focus on the fairway and on the green, so I can run that section. But this area, I don't really have a dedicated sprinkler for, so I'm just sort of gonna, I cut apart an old hose and I'm gonna daisy chain some of these together. So after all this work, it'd be great to rest, wouldn't it? But we got to cut the back because we had a decent rain last night. And I told you in my last video, the more you cut, the better. And you don't want to see clipping trails. So Ryan's out here right now. And we went from a hard ½ inch cut to now we're doing just below 3/4. And just so you know, that's about where we'll keep it pretty much all summer long, right about that. So go ahead and let's fire that up and let's sweat some more. Man, my shirt is soaking wet. Man, these balls are filthy. But it gives you a perspective as now we're at this is a 3/4 inch cut, or it's just below 3/4 inch. And man, that lawn's looking really, really good right there. The backyard just looks awesome. Now we've bumped this up, of course, to a 3/4 inch cut, which I don't like to do, but you got to do what you got to do. So when you do a seeding project, core aeration is a good thing to do. Once you get those cores up, put a little bit of your seed down, and then do a scarifier. Then come back and put more seed down and do a rake or roll, whatever. Do a few levels of that multiple seed depth. Because eventually what'll happen in the summertime, you're gonna have a thunderstorm come through, and you're gonna have all these washout areas. And what I've learned is if you can get some of that seed deeper than you normally would, it really works out well. You're not so worried about one coat of seed that's only that deep. You got a little bit deeper seed. So here is the next morning, and my job for the next 7 to 14 days is to not let this dry out, and that's the challenging part. Yesterday was a lot of work,
But now I've got the challenge of trying to keep this seed wet in the hot summertime. Sometimes the seeding part is a long, hard day, but this actually can be the more challenging work simply because, man, how do you keep seed that's real shallow planted? How do you keep it wet? But you've got to keep it wet. So if you have an irrigation system, I'm fortunate around the green, we've got 4 sprinkler heads. So if I wanted to set up a schedule when I'm gone, I could have it run, you know, every 2 hours during the day or something like that. Just a light coat. You're not trying to get it deep. You're just trying to get a little bit of water on this. Same thing here. I've daisy chained a couple sprinkler heads over here that I can come out and just run, you know, for 10 minutes, get this area wet and keep it moist. But man, I'll tell you what, when it's 93 degrees, it's sunny, it's kind of hard to keep this stuff. Now down at the beach house, we have a seeding project down there, and I'm fortunate that I have a wireless, I control it from the house, I can control it, plus I have cameras and I can watch it, and it's doing fairly well down there, surprisingly, and that's Zoysia. So guys, that was a long day, a lot of work. Matter of fact, we got to cut the front today, we got a lot more work to do. We're trimming palm trees, we're trimming trees, bushes. Hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Doc.